Janelle Morrison had been serving tables at the Sterling Room for 3 years. At 28, she was working 2 jobs to put herself through business school at night. The Sterling Room wasn't just any restaurant, it was the place in Manhattan where deals worth billions were made over $30 appetizers and wine that cost more than her monthly rent. She'd learned to be invisible. That's what the wealthy clientele wanted: excellent service without having to acknowledge the person providing it. Janelle had perfected the art of anticipating needs, staying 2 steps ahead, and never ever intruding on the conversations happening around 7-figure deals. Tuesday evening started like any other. The restaurant was fully booked, every table occupied by someone whose net worth had at least 8 zeros. Janelle was assigned to the private dining room, the room reserved for the biggest deals, the most important meetings. Her manager, Vincent, pulled her aside. Table 12, Richard Castellano's party. He's CEO of Castellano Industries, worth about $4 billion, maybe more. There's another party joining him, some tech CEO. This is big, Janelle. Perfect service, understand? Janelle nodded. She'd served billionaires before. They were just people who happened to have unconscionable amounts of money. Richard Castellano arrived first. He was 56, silver-haired, with the kind of tan that came from owning a yacht. He wore a suit that probably cost more than Janelle's car. With him were 2 executives from his company and his attorney. "Good evening, gentlemen," Janelle said with her professional smile. "Can I start you with some drinks while you wait for your other party?" Castellano barely glanced at her. "Macallan 25, neat, and make sure the bottle is from the top shelf, not whatever well garbage you people try to pass off." "Of course, sir." Janelle had long ago learned not to react to condescension. 20 minutes later, the other party arrived. Janelle recognized her immediately. Diane Chen, founder and CEO of Novatech Solutions. At 43, Chen had built a software empire that was revolutionizing artificial intelligence. Forbes had just named her one of the most powerful women in tech. With Chen was her CFO, Marcus, and 2 board members. But what caught Janelle's attention was the quiet confidence Chen carried. No flashy jewelry, no designer labels screaming for attention, just competence and presence. "Miss Chen, welcome," Castellano said, standing. "Thank you for considering our proposal." As Janelle poured water and took drink orders, she caught fragments of conversation. Castellano Industries wanted to acquire Novatech's AI division for $3.5 billion. It would be one of the biggest tech deals of the year. The dinner progressed. Janelle was flawless, anticipating when water glasses needed refilling, ensuring courses arrived perfectly timed, staying invisible but present. Then it happened. Janelle was clearing the appetizer plates when Castellano reached for his wine glass, not seeing her arm. His elbow knocked the glass, sending red wine cascading across the white tablecloth and onto his expensive suit. "You stupid." Castellano's face went red. He turned on Janelle with fury. "Are you completely incompetent? Do you have any idea how much this suit costs? More than you'll make in a year, I guarantee that." "Sir, I apologize," Janelle began, but Castellano cut her off. "I don't want your apology. I want someone who isn't too stupid to do their job properly. This is what happens when restaurants hire people who can barely string 2 sentences together." He turned to Vincent, who'd rushed over. "Get her away from my table, now, and take this off my bill, all of it. This is unacceptable." The entire room had gone silent. Every eye was on them. Janelle felt heat rising in her face, not from embarrassment, but from rage she couldn't express. She'd done nothing wrong. He'd knocked his own glass over. But she knew the drill. The customer is always right, especially when they're worth billions. "I apologize for the inconvenience, Mr. Castellano," Vincent said quickly, signaling another server. But before Janelle could leave, Diane Chen spoke. "Actually, Mr. Castellano, I saw what happened." Chen's voice was calm but sharp. "You knocked over your own glass. This woman did nothing wrong." Castellano waved dismissively. "It's fine, it's handled. Now about the acquisition terms." "No," Chen said, setting down her fork with deliberate precision. "It's not fine." The table went still. Chen turned to Janelle. "What's your name?" "Janelle, ma'am." Her voice was steady despite her racing heart. "Janelle, I'm sorry you were spoken to that way. It was unacceptable and untrue." Chen looked directly at Castellano. "Mr. Castellano, I've spent the last 6 months considering your acquisition offer. I've reviewed your financials, your corporate culture, your track record, but I've learned that how a person treats service workers tells you everything you need to know about their character." Castellano's smile was strained. "Miss Chen, surely we're not going to let a minor incident with the waitstaff derail a multi-billion-dollar deal." "A minor incident?" Chen's eyebrows rose. "You just called a young woman stupid for something you did. You belittled her work, made assumptions about her intelligence, and demanded she be removed for your mistake." She stood, and her team immediately followed. "That's not minor, Mr. Castellano. That's who you are, and I don't do business with people like that. This is where everything changes. If you want to see karma in action, subscribe now. You won't believe what happens next." "Miss Chen, please." Castellano was standing now, his attorney looking panicked. "Let's discuss this reasonably." "I am being reasonable," Chen said, her voice even. You've shown me exactly how you treat people you perceive as beneath you. Imagine how you treat my employees once you own the company. Imagine how you treat our clients, our partners, anyone who didn't meet your standards of importance." She collected her belongings. "The deal is off, Mr. Castellano, permanently." As Chen's party moved toward the exit, she paused at Janelle's station. She pulled out a business card and a $100 bill. "Janelle, this is for you, and not as a tip, as an apology for what you had to endure." Chen's eyes were kind but fierce. "And if you're looking for a company that values intelligence and dignity, email me. We're always looking for sharp people." Then she was gone, leaving Castellano standing in a wine-stained suit, watching $3.5 billion walk out the door. The restaurant erupted in whispers. Janelle stood frozen, the business card trembling in her hand. Vincent approached Castellano, who was now screaming at his attorney. "Do something. Call her. This can't be happening because of some waitress." But it already had. What Castellano didn't know was that another diner, a tech journalist named Aaron Rodriguez, had witnessed everything. And in the age of social media, secrets didn't stay secret for long. By midnight, Aaron's Twitter thread had gone viral. "Just watched a billionaire CEO call a black waitress stupid for his own mistake. Then watched another CEO walk away from a 3.5B deal because of it. This is the karma content we all needed." Thread. The thread detailed everything. By morning, it had 5 million views. By noon, major outlets were picking up the story. "Billionaire's racist outburst costs him $3.5 billion deal," read the headlines. Castellano Industries stock dropped 12% in a single day as investors panicked. The company's public relations team went into crisis mode, but the damage was done. Business partners began distancing themselves. 3 board members called for Castellano's resignation. Meanwhile, Janelle's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. News outlets wanted interviews. The restaurant was fielding hundreds of calls, and her inbox was flooded with messages of support, including one from Diane Chen's assistant, confirming the job offer was real. But the story that really made headlines came 3 days later. Once the spotlight was on Castellano Industries, journalists started digging, and what they found was damning. A former HR director, speaking anonymously, revealed a pattern of discrimination complaints against Castellano that had been settled quietly over the years. An anonymous tip led reporters to discover that the company had paid out over $8 million in discrimination settlements in the past decade, all buried in NDAs. Former employees came forward with stories. There was Maria Santos, a Latina executive who'd been passed over for promotion repeatedly despite outperforming her peers, only to watch less qualified white men advance. There was James Wilson, a black engineer who'd been called articulate so many times it became clear it was code for surprisingly competent for someone like you. The dam had broken. Once one person spoke up, others found courage. The Securities and Exchange Commission announced an investigation into whether Castellano Industries had properly disclosed these settlements to shareholders. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission launched their own inquiry. And Diane Chen, she released a statement that went viral. "Leadership is revealed not in boardrooms but in how we treat those who can do nothing for us. Mr. Castellano showed me he values power over people, image over integrity. Novatech will never partner with companies that don't share our values of dignity and respect for all. This is non-negotiable." The statement cemented Chen's reputation as a CEO with principles. Her company's stock rose 8%. Partnership offers flooded in from companies eager to align with her values. Part 6. The Reckoning. 6 weeks after that night at the Sterling Room, Richard Castellano was forced to resign as CEO of the company he'd built. The board had no choice. Partners were backing out, clients were leaving, and the company's reputation was in freefall. In his resignation statement, Castellano said all the right words about personal growth and taking time to reflect, but everyone knew the truth. He destroyed his own empire with one moment of casual cruelty. The $3.5 billion deal. Chen sold the AI division to a different company, Castellano's biggest competitor, for $4.2 billion. The irony wasn't lost on anyone, but the most unexpected turn came from Janelle. She'd accepted Chen's job offer, starting as a junior analyst at Novatech. But she'd also done something else. Using her newfound platform, Janelle had started speaking out about the treatment of service workers, particularly black women, in elite spaces. Her TED Talk, "The Invisible Labor of Dignity," went viral. She wrote an op-ed for the New York Times about how service workers are treated as less than human by the wealthy, and she partnered with labor organizations to push for better protections for restaurant workers. "What happened to me happens every single day to thousands of people," Janelle said in an interview. "The only difference is someone with power saw it and chose to act. But we shouldn't need a hero to swoop in. We need systemic change. This is what happens when one person stands up, when courage meets consequence." If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. These are the stories that changed the world. Part 7. 1 year later. Janelle Morrison stood on the stage at a business conference, no longer a waitress but a rising star in tech and a voice for workers' rights. In the audience was Diane Chen, who'd become not just a mentor but a friend. "People ask me if I'm grateful for what happened that night," Janelle said to the crowd. "And the truth is complicated. I'm not grateful I was disrespected. I'm not grateful for the casual cruelty I experienced. But I am grateful that someone with power chose to use it for something good.
I'm grateful that consequences, real consequences, followed bad behavior. She paused, looking out at hundreds of faces. Richard Castellano thought I was powerless. He thought he could treat me however he wanted because I was serving him. But he forgot something important. Everyone is watching. Everyone is connected. And in this world, your character matters. How you treat people matters. Not just the people who can help you, but everyone. After her speech, a young black woman approached Janelle, barely 20, nervous, wearing a restaurant uniform under her jacket. I saw your story, the woman said. I've been dealing with similar stuff at my job. I was going to just quit, but you made me realize I could fight back. Janelle took her hand. You absolutely can, and you're not alone. That evening, Janelle got a text from an unknown number. It was brief. You destroyed my life. She recognized the number. Castellano. He'd been trying to rebuild, start a new venture, but investors wouldn't touch him. The stain was permanent. Janelle didn't respond. Instead, she forwarded the text to her lawyer and blocked the number. She'd learned that some people never take responsibility, never change, never understand that their downfall was their own doing. But that was his problem, not hers. She looked at the business card still pinned to her bulletin board at home, the one Diane Chen had given her that night. Below it, she'd written a note to herself. Character revealed in crisis becomes destiny. Richard Castellano had revealed his character, and it had cost him everything. But Janelle had revealed hers too. Resilience, grace, and the courage to speak truth to power when it mattered most. And that, she was learning, was worth more than any amount of money. This is why the Unheard Stories exists, to show you that karma is real, that courage matters, and that every voice deserves to be heard. If Janelle's journey inspired you, if Diane's principles moved you, then subscribe right now. Share this story. Let people know that dignity isn't negotiable. Hit that subscribe button and join our community fighting for a world where everyone is treated with respect, regardless of their job title or bank account. Because these stories, they're just beginning.